Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Yakshi Malhotra, the founder of the Knit Academy. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. If you are new here, you are in for an absolute treat with the archive of demos I've got for you. So I've got over 200 tutorials, yes, that's right, 200 tutorials up on my website called the Knit Academy if you are looking to learn the more technical aspects of knitwear. So we add demos every single month on there to help you out with learning more about knit, and the information I've got up there is not available anywhere. So we've got pattern cutting, we've got technical packs, we've got linking, we've got a whole archive of swatches to help you get started on your journey. So we've got a lot of beginners guides as well. So make sure that you go check it out. And finally, make sure you subscribe to this channel and show your support. Other than that, enjoy knitting. So this is part 4 for the first swatch, and we are basically just working with variations with one technique using the same number of needles and the same needle layout. Now we've of course gone ahead and started by casting on 37 needles as we have been doing for the past 3 demos. And now we're going to start off our transfer work again, which is using a single prong transfer tool, transferring the 5th stitch over to the right, leaving 4 and then transferring the 5th over. Okay, so I've linked the previous demos below for this series so you can have a look from the first demo. Knit 2 rows, go ahead and transfer the next needle over to the right, leaving us with 2 empty needles and 3 working needles in between. Knit 2, and we're going to do this once more, okay? Transfer the stitch over to the right, push your empty needles to the back of the bed, and knit 2. Now the variation in this is of course the needles that we're pushing forward again, but this time around we are pushing the center needle within the set of 3 empty needles, okay? And we're going to knit 2 rows like so, and now we're going to push all of our needles into working position and knit 2. Now the other variation to this is that we're going to be moving the pattern, okay? So if you remember, we left 4 needles on the edges and we worked on the next 4 needles, okay? This time around, we are going to leave 8 needles and work on the next 4. So that will just change the placement of the pattern. Now we're keeping everything else the same, it's just the placement, okay? So you pretty much just repeat what you've done. The other slight variation you could do at this point is instead of transferring it to the right, you transfer it to the left. Just see what that would do to your design. Right, now we are at the point where we can push the center needles forward into working. Knit and push all. And that's part 4, or the 4th variation to this first swatch series. So this is part 4 to the series of the first swatch, and this is literally what we've just demonstrated, and it's looking as interesting as I think with the other ones that we've done. So I'm just going to compare that to the last week's demo. I think with these two you can actually tell the difference between the two, and it's a little bit more clearer than the others, but I think this looks a bit more compact in comparison to these ones here. Again, changing the colors. So if you were to do some striping with it every 2 rows, you've got less rows in this swatch than you do on this one here. So it would automatically change the pattern as you start to introduce colors and yarns into the mix, okay? I would really encourage you to take all of these swatches further into adding colors and different fibers and doing it every few rows to see how it makes
more of a difference. So these are all the ones that we've done within the first swatch, and you can see the differences within all of them. I'm not sure which one I prefer, to be honest, but I'm quite indecisive when it comes to picking techniques and stuff. So again, I hope this was really good for you. I hope this actually helped you understand how you can make little changes along your knitting process to develop your swatches further. And it might also be that you develop them further and actually go back to the first swatch that you did and then make other changes. So it doesn't need to be that you might end up with the last swatch as being your final, but it's just about making those changes and seeing what works within the swatches that you've been knitting. And it also might be that you pick a certain technique out of, like, say, swatch 3 or 4 and then add it to the first swatch. Okay, so you could easily start to maybe stripe with the different swatches or different changes that you've made to make it into one swatch. So it's not necessarily where you actually finalize on one pattern. It could be that you could stripe with it. You could do a pattern stripe as opposed to a color stripe. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I will have, of course, so many beautiful techniques coming up as always, and do check my other demos out. I'll see you next week. Bye.